So yeah, here we are. The Pac-12 is officially done. It got dispersed among um, the new Power Four conferences. It looks like the FBS is going to move into a Power Four conference that will work much better with the college football playoff when it comes to the top four seeding. You can do each Power Four conference champion gets a automatic qualifier into the college football playoff. So let's take a look at the Pac-12. What happened to the Pac-12? All right, here we are, the Pac-12 conference. Now, something that we have to notice. First things first, um, I want to let everybody know that I have a book called How to Build a College Football Stadium. That's going to be coming out soon. Be on the lookout for my new book, How to Build a College Football Stadium. All right, so here we have the Pac-12 conference. This information is all accurate. Technically, this conference doesn't break up until the fall of 2024. All right. So here's all the universities in the Pac-12. Arizona State, University of Cal, Berkeley, UCLA, Colorado, Boulder, University of Oregon, Oregon State, USC, Southern Cal, Stanford, Utah, Washington, and Washington State. As we can see, when we look by enrollment, we can see there are a lot of these schools and universities have high enrollment, but when we look towards the bottom, we can see Washington State, 24,000. That's not that much. University of Oregon, 23,000. That's not that much. And Stanford, 16,000. Stanford's private, but still, when we look at athletics, that's not that much. Lastly, when we look at endowment is pretty much how much the university has in its coffers. Stanford, anything in the billions is good. And we can see all these universities pretty much are in the billions. As we can see though, Oregon State, 830 million. That's not in the billions. Let's move on. Okay, we can see the map here with the schools. I always loved the Pac-12, even the Pac-10 without Utah and Colorado because they had a nice solid West Coast footprint. But yeah, nice little landscape. As we can see where they all moved to. We'll get to that later. All right, let's get down to what I like to look at, which really tells you a lot about the conference when we look at from a macro level. Right here, facilities. Okay, so let's hit capacity. All right, we're going to go from the top down. UCLA. UCLA is public university, University of California, Los Angeles, one of the premier universities in the state. They play off campus at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, probably about 15 minutes away east, which is not on campus, but it is big, 92,000. They have a annual Rose Bowl parade right before the Rose Bowl game. It's great. 92,000. It's big, but it is off campus. USC, they play at the Memorial Coliseum. It's a beautiful, beautiful on-campus facility. We all know what it looked like. Anyway, Husky Stadium. This is one of the biggest on-campus stadiums in the Pac-12. This is on campus, built by the university. Keep that in mind. USC did not build that stadium. Just keep that in mind, in the back of your mind. They built this, 70,000. So we see the top tier, 92, 77, 70,000. Cal, 63,000. Oregon, 54,000. Oregon gets a lot of credit because of the design and the layout of their stadium. It creates a lot of noise. And, it's in the mid-tier of this conference. Arizona State used to have this stadium in this picture, but they took down this section of the end zone upper deck, which was a bad idea. Utah, Rice-Eccles Stadium is cool. Arizona Stadium is nice. Stanford Stadium. They actually used to have a bowl, but they demolished it and went with this design, which is kind of cookie cutter. I wouldn't have went with that design. Folsom Field. This is one that looks good at nighttime on primetime games. It looks real good, but they need to expand right here. They need seats right here. Oregon State, they just did a renovation. They went down in capacity, which is never good. But it turned out, looks all right. But as we can see, 35,000. Let's compare that to Oregon, 54,000, 35,000. And Martin Stadium, it's a nice little stadium, but check this out, 32,000, lowest in the conference. We see Oregon State and we see Washington State, lowest in the conference. Let's compare this to their older brother, 70,000 on campus, 32,000 on campus. So this is part of the main reason that Oregon State and Washington State got left behind. This is no coincidence. Let's keep going. Also notice that members departing for the Big Ten. First things first, we see USC and UCLA who left first for the Big Ten, and we also saw that Oregon and Washington, they got to ride with them. They got to go with them. So that tells you right there that these are the top 4 programs in the Pac-12 conference. Next up, we have a mid-tier, which is Arizona State, Colorado, who was also previously in the Big 12, and Utah. That's a great move for Utah to be included in this mid-tier. And it's a bad misstep for Oregon State and Washington State. They're now basically going to be forced to be group of 5. They're going to be forced to go down a level. This was a huge misstep, and it was also a miss for probably other programs like San Diego State and Boise State and Utah State. Utah State missed out, and Colorado State missed out. Colorado and Colorado State had a great classic game in Boulder at the start of the 2023 season. And that was a good look for Colorado State. So, yeah. Anyway, we move on. Yeah. All right. So, yeah. Let's go back. So, yeah. So, the Pac-12, we love the Pac-12, Conference of Champions, but because a lot of universities And sad to say, I'm going to call them out. Washington State. Wait, let's look at your facilities. Let's take a deep dive into your facilities and see have you kept up. Let's see how many upper decks you got. So, we got a nice stadium. I like Martin Stadium. I do. It's enclosed. It has an enclosed end zone. It has a nice size grandstand. It has a nice press box. Nice bowled in. It has a symmetrical grandstand, but they box themselves in right here with this building. That's a technique that a lot of universities, they do that so they can enclose the stadium, because you don't just want this open. So you build an athletic facilities building, which they've got some. Let's zoom in here. They do have some seating in here. When you see games on TV, this is good right here, because you still see fans right here. This is what a lot of other programs need to catch. You still see seating. You don't even really notice this. So, nice stadium, but it's not big enough. You want to play Power 5 ball, you got to think about the stadiums in the SEC. Could you take on Georgia? When you go to Georgia, Georgia's not playing in this. LSU's, they not playing in this. Penn State, they not playing in this. Michigan, they just won the national championship. They not playing in it. So, let's take a look at Oregon State. Let's see what Oregon State got popping. Oregon State, you had a chance to follow your big brother, Oregon, and stay with your big brother, just like Washington State. Whoops, wrong one. And you missed it. It was perfect timing with your renovation, but the renovation wasn't big enough. Your renovation, you look, sometimes you gotta you gotta aim for the stars and land on the moon. Let's take a look. Nice little stadium. But this right here, you gotta look at this. Look at this for a second. Look at this. Look at that. Look at that. And look at this. Is it cool? Yes, it's cool. But for a Power 5 team, it's not good enough. Think about Penn State. Think about Ohio State. Look, you got nothing here. Another athletic building. You take a look at the athletic building, and this little baby, that's not enough. You could have had this whole section. You have to take advantage of your stadium. Certain things that will fall in line with your stadium. You could have wrapped this around and brought this over the top. Now you got a Power 5 stadium. So that's just a little couple things I want to point out on why the Pac-12 conference didn't survive. You know, when it's all said and done. And let me go back up to the top. Football. That brings me to one final thing, and that's this right here. Championships by coach. Nope. Football championships. No. Well, I may not be able to find it. I may have to do it on another episode, but I may have to, I don't think I'll be able to find it. But just a list of conference championships. I mean, how many times do you see Washington State in here? How many times do you see Oregon State in here? How many Heismans does Oregon State have? How many Heismans does Washington State have in the last 20 years? How many championships? How many college football playoffs? I only think the Pac-12 had one college football playoff entry, and that was Washington. And they made it to the championship. So shout out to Washington. The Pac-12 went down fighting, but ultimately, this wasn't good enough. I'm out.